Cults. They're pretty spooky, pretty evil, and pretty insane, I guess. They control your mind, feed on your hopes, dreams, and insecurities, and worse yet, they don't even guarantee any car insurance. They make their way into every part of society and look incredibly normal at first glance. Even now, I guarantee that at least 5 people watching this video are a part of a cult. With that said, it's no surprise that cults have infiltrated even parallel worlds, such as the flat planes of the rezero world. So, let's expose all their secrets and plans, shall we?
どうしたよ兄ちゃん、急にほうけとつろして。
Now, this collective group is known as the Witches Cult, who exists all across the rezero world in various continents. Existing for about 400 years and maybe even longer, the Witches Cult are shrouded in secrecy and exist to worship the 7 witches of sin, or maybe just one. However, their goal isn't exactly to revive the 7 witches. What exactly their goals are remain unknown, but we know there used to exist a radical and more peaceful side. Unfortunately, the peaceful side was all but eliminated, and only the more radical and twisted individuals remain. Just like most cults, the Witches Cult members are purely dedicated to their cause, to the point where they'll murder entire villages without a second thought. Members will even resort to self-harm in certain situations, but they mostly keep an eerily calm demeanor, not even uttering a single word. It's to the point where they'll barely react when their allies are being killed around them. Each member of the Witches Cult sports a black cloak with a triangle-shaped mask and 2 holes for eyes. Their outfit is kinda reminiscent of another group in the real world. Anyways, members are given jagged daggers, which are used to complete their unsavory tasks. They are made even more dangerous with a shocking level of speed and sheer numbers, being able to overwhelm even the strongest of combatants. Each member of the Witches Cult possesses a gospel, a book which sorta vaguely tells the future. Contrary to the original Book of Wisdom, the events they describe were subject to change, and the information they contain was sometimes open to interpretation. But like I mentioned before, the cult's goal are unknown. However, they do often launch sudden surprise attacks on various settlements like villages and cities, with no clear goal. All these are under the orders of their superiors, the Sin Archbishops. Each of the Sin Archbishops represent one of the 7 deadly sins. As indicated with Beetlejuice, each Sin Archbishop controls a giant portion of the cult's manpower and resources, and can use them however they please. But there are situations where they combine their forces in order to achieve a certain goal, such as their siege on Stella. However, despite all of them belonging to the same organization, the Sin Archbishops are not fond of each other and would happily tear each other limb from limb with their authorities. The Sin Archbishops are the main muscle of the cult. They are partly the reason they have existed for so long in the first place. Their sheer level of power can often take down the strongest of opponents, even members of the Estrella family. This is all thanks to their witch factors, which grants them unique abilities called authorities. Now, each witch factor originally belonged to the witches of sin, mainly sloth, greed, gluttony, wrath, lust, pride, and envy. However, there do exist other factors like melancholy and vainglory. Witch factors are sorta similar to Autologna, a force in which controls the world in certain ways, although these entities have no ties to each other. In fact, witch factors are seen as a natural enemy of Autologna, or its antithesis. For example, both Autologna and witch factors grant their wielders unique abilities in the form of divine protections and authorities, but while divine protections act and behave like buffs and special skills, which makes one's combat abilities in everyday life easier, authorities are like full-on supernatural powers, which can influence and shape the world. Authorities can control time in various ways, control one's mind, manipulate souls, create life, and even create calamities by healing the world. Authorities are so powerful that divine protections are unable to overpower them, and they can be seen as far more powerful overall. It's unknown where exactly witch factors came from, but they do seem to be a tangible force, judging by the fact that they can be stored within a box. Each witch factor can often be granted to members of the Witches Cult, who are seen as the most compatible, and their current roster of the cult so far are incredibly formidable with these abilities. Now, because I'm an expert on rezero lore, I'm pretty knowledgeable on rezero lore. I'll try my best to explain every Sin Archbishop. Beetlejuice di Romaniconti is the Archbishop of Sloth, and has access to the authority of Sloth. With it, Beetlejuice can summon a mass of black hands named the Unseen Hand. These hands can extend for a vast amount of distance. It can be controlled telepathically. These hands are incredibly powerful. They can casually break and contort the human body and obliterate rock with ease. This, combined with the sheer numbers, makes them incredibly dangerous. At their peak, thousands of these hands can be summoned at a given time, and it's been implied that the unseen hand is an inferior version to the one possessed by the Witch of Sloth. The main advantage of these hands is their invisibility, as it makes them borderline impossible to dodge. In most cases, the unseen hand can easily level forests and one-shot anyone who doesn't have a high level of durability. In the web novel, he has the ability to force auditory and visual hallucinations on anyone who comes in contact with a black wave he creates, and Beetlejuice can transfer his soul into anyone he shared a piece of his witch factor with. The Authority of Wrath, possessed by Fortuna, Sirius di Romanicanti, has the ability to transfer emotions and senses. Sirius can transfer whatever emotions she's feeling to anyone in an unknown range. Not only will those affected feel those emotions, but they'll be amplified to an immense degree. So if she feels an immense amount of killing intent towards a certain individual, those affected by her authority will inherit those emotions and attempt to kill or severely injure whoever she's directed her anger towards. It seems those affected don't realize they're being controlled until it's too late. However, there are certain instances where individuals can be immune to her ability. Emotions aren't the only thing that can be transferred. Sirius can also transfer certain senses like pain. When this occurs, any damage that is inflicted upon her or people she controls will transfer to any individual under her ability's influence. So if her arm were to be cut off, everyone else's arm would be cut off as well. Sirius often uses this ability to kill hundreds of people at the same time. Capella has demonstrated the ability to transform herself and others into various creatures with her authority of lust. Her transformations include changing her body parts into claws, wings, tails, or even turning into a powerful black dragon. She has regularly demonstrated the ability to convert others into various animals such as frogs, giant flies, dragons, birds, or even unrecognizable lumps of flesh by simply touching them. She often uses this ability to heal herself by replacing her damaged body parts with ones of different creatures. So if you crushed her heart, that would just cause her to give herself a lion's heart. No pun intended. So basically, she's like a Beast Boy and Mahito fused into one being. This ability is incredibly versatile. It gives Capella many options in combat situations. Roy, Lai, and Louis Arneb have the ability to eat names and memories. Two different things can occur depending on which they eat. If the memories are eaten, the victim pretty much loses all their memories, including the skills they've collected and their personality traits. This effectively makes them a new person. If the name is eaten, you are basically erased from existence. Not literally, however, everyone you've ever met and every trace that you've ever existed in people's memories will be erased. The most dangerous combination is both your name and your memories being consumed. Not only will nobody remember you, but you wouldn't even recall who you are as well. In most cases, this could also put you in a coma for an unknown amount of time. The names and memories that are eaten cannot be returned, and will take a trip into our Logna itself to have any hope of bringing them back. That's not all. Louis and our brothers are able to sift through your memories and acquire certain skills and knowledge. They can, for example, extract a martial artist's memories and gain all their fighting skills and knowledge. They can also transform their appearance into whoever they've eaten. There isn't much known about Stride Valakia, including what his authority was capable of, but we do know that he possessed multiple sets of rings with unique abilities. A set of them could basically mind control a target, forcing them to do his bidding. This includes making the victim break mentally, basically turning them into a puppet. Another ring Stride has in his possession has the ability to rot a target's limbs, forcing them to fall apart. Due to being royalty, Stride has access to the Yang Sword Valakia, which can conjure flames. However, he's unworthy of using it. It's to the point where he risks being lit on fire just from holding it. Regulus Corneus has the ability to freeze his body in time. When this occurs, he's completely immune to the world's outside influence and effectively becomes an anomaly to the world. So eating, sleeping, and fatigue are nullified, and he no longer has a need for them. This ability makes him pretty much immortal as well. When attacks make contact with Regulus's body, they are nullified upon contact, and it's like his body didn't even react to getting hit. Even when it does, his body doesn't take any damage whatsoever. Regulus can freeze an object in time, like dirt or water, which immediately homes in and obliterates anything they come in contact with. He can often decimate entire armies just from sighing. This is all mostly thanks to his secondary ability, which allows him to transfer his heart into any living thing in his range. As long as his heart survives within either his wives or a target, he has no time limit on his ability, and he will remain invincible as long as his heart isn't destroyed. Although we don't know much about the authority of Vainglory, it appears at first glance that Pandora can rewrite certain phenomena to her benefit. She used this ability to rewrite the fact that Regulus ever came with her to the forest, causing all the damage he ever caused to be erased. I guess she rewrote the stiffness of the ground, causing Regulus to sink in with a light push. As if the ground was made of Play-Doh, she rewrote Amelia's memories and implanted fake ones. On many occasions, her ability was used to change her appearance, to trick opponents into attacking each other. She often uses Vainglory to revive herself immediately after she dies, making her invincible. This also shows that she doesn't necessarily have to use narration to trigger her ability. It sort of functions like Star and Stripes' New Order, or a slightly more versatile version of Kumagawa's All Fiction. So with a massive amount of forces who are willing to die, books that can tell the future, and send archbishops who can destroy the world by themselves, the witches' cult are an incredibly dangerous group that should not be underestimated. If it wasn't for a certain cringy kid's ability to travel through time, the witches' cult would have achieved their goals on many occasions. Even still, even Reinhard van Astrea should stay wary of what they've got planned next.